In the heart of St. Louis, Missouri, stands a grand old house. It is a Victorian mansion with a dark and troubling past. This is the Lemp Mansion. For many people, it is more than just a beautiful building. It is known as one of America's most haunted places. The mansion sits on Demonil Place, a quiet street that holds incredible stories of wealth, power, and deep sadness. The history of this house is not just about architecture. It is about a family that experienced the highest highs and the lowest lows. Their story has become a legend, whispered in the city for over a century. It's a tale that fascinates ghost hunters, historians, and anyone who loves a good mystery. The mansion's reputation is built on a foundation of tragedy. The Lemp family, who built and lived in this house, were once the kings of the St. Louis brewing industry. They had everything: money, influence, and a name known across the country. But behind the opulent walls of their home, a shadow of despair was growing. This darkness would eventually consume the family, leading to a series of shocking and tragic events. The sorrow that filled these rooms seems to have never left. It lingers like a cold spot in a warm room, a constant reminder of the pain that the Lemp family endured within these very walls. People from all over the world come to visit the Lemp Mansion. They are drawn by the stories of its ghostly inhabitants. These visitors hope to catch a glimpse of something supernatural, to hear a strange noise, or to feel an unexplainable chill. The tales of paranormal activity are numerous and compelling. They speak of phantom footsteps on the stairs, mysterious apparitions in the windows, and objects moving on their own. The mansion is not just a historical site. It has become a destination for those who seek to connect with the past in a very direct and sometimes frightening way. The building itself seems to hold the emotional energy of the events that unfolded there. So, what makes the Lemp Mansion so famous? It is the powerful combination of its grand history and its chilling legends. It represents the American dream gone horribly wrong. The story of the Lemp family is a cautionary tale about how wealth and success cannot protect you from personal pain and mental anguish. Their rise was spectacular, but their fall was even more dramatic. The mansion stands today as a silent monument to their legacy, a place where the echoes of their triumphs and their tragedies can still be felt. It is a house where the past is not just remembered. For many, it is still very much alive. The story of the Lemp family begins not in St. Louis, but in Eschwege, Germany. This is where Johann Adam Lemp was born in 1798. Like many ambitious young men of his time, Adam saw America as a land of opportunity. He arrived in the United States in 1838, bringing with him the skills and knowledge of a trained brewer. He first settled in Cincinnati, but soon moved to St. Louis, a bustling river city with a large German immigrant population. He knew these hardworking people missed the taste of the beer from their homeland. Adam saw a chance to give them something they craved and build a new life for himself in the process. Adam Lemp started small. He opened a modest grocery store, but he also brewed beer in the back. This was not the dark, heavy English-style ale that was common in America at the time. Adam specialized in a lighter, crisper beer called lager. At first, he sold it just to his friends and neighbors, but its popularity grew quickly. People loved this new style of beer. He soon realized that brewing was his true calling. In 1840, he closed his grocery store and founded the Western Brewery. This was the beginning of what would become a massive brewing empire, one that would make the Lemp name famous throughout the nation. A key to Adam's success was his innovative spirit. He was one of the first brewers in America to use refrigerated caves for lagering. Beneath the streets of St. Louis, a network of natural limestone caves provided the perfect cool temperature needed to age lager beer properly. Adam purchased a large cave south of the city and used it to store and ferment his product. This gave Lemp beer its signature quality and consistency, setting it apart from competitors. The brewery grew and grew, and Adam Lemp became a wealthy and respected businessman. He had achieved the American dream he had set out to find. His son, William J. Lemp, would take the family business to even greater heights. Born in Germany in 1836, William came to America to join his father. He was just as ambitious and even more of a visionary. When Adam Lemp passed away in 1862, William took control of the Western Brewery. He was a master of marketing and industrialization. He expanded the brewery into a massive industrial complex covering several city blocks. Under William's leadership, the Lemp Brewery became the largest in St. Louis and one of the biggest in the entire country. The Lemp family was now on top of the world. With the brewery's incredible success, William J. Lemp became one of the wealthiest men in St. Louis. He was a true beer baron, a figure of immense power and influence. To showcase his status, he needed a home that matched his grand ambitions. In 1876, he purchased a stately mansion built by his father-in-law, Jacob Fikert. This was the house that would forever be known as the Lemp Mansion. It was a magnificent 33-room Victorian home, a symbol of the family's immense fortune. William and his wife, Julia, filled the home with expensive art, luxurious furniture, and the latest modern conveniences of the era. The mansion was the center of the Lemp family's world. Here, William and Julia raised their large family of 8 children. Media group, vintage family portrait in Victorian attire, large family gathered in elegant mansion room, historic photo of children in ornate home at its stock at it distribute _ equally. William Jr., Louis, Charles, Frederick, Edwin, Hilda, Elsa, and an infant son who died shortly after birth. The house was filled with life and activity. It was the scene of lavish parties and important business meetings. The Lemps were at the top of St. Louis society. They traveled the world, owned vast properties, and enjoyed a lifestyle that few could imagine. The Lemp name was synonymous with success. Their Falstaff beer logo, with its distinctive red shield, was a common sight in saloons and homes across America. The family's wealth was not just spent on personal luxury. The Lemps were also philanthropists who contributed to the growth of St. Louis. They donated to various causes and helped shape the city's cultural landscape. The brewery itself was a major employer, providing jobs for thousands of people. It was a self-contained city with its own power plant, railway connections, and bottling facilities. William J. Lemp was a genius of industry. He was one of the first to use refrigerated rail cars to ship his beer nationwide, making Lemp a truly national brand. This was the golden age for the Lemp Dynasty, a time of seemingly endless prosperity and promise. Inside the mansion, the family enjoyed every comfort. They had a staff of servants to attend to their every need. The home had a beautiful atrium, a grand ballroom for entertaining guests, and even its own bowling alley in the basement. The Lemps had built an empire from the ground up, and this mansion was their castle. From the outside, it looked like they had a perfect life. They had achieved everything they could have ever wanted. But beneath the surface of this glittering success, personal troubles and hidden sorrows were beginning to gather like storm clouds on the horizon, threatening to destroy everything they had built. The first major tragedy to strike the Lemp family was the death of Frederick Lemp, William Sr.'s favorite son. Frederick was the heir apparent, the one groomed to take over the massive brewing empire. He had a natural talent for the business and was beloved by the brewery workers. However, he suffered from poor health for most of his life. In 1901, at the young age of 28, Frederick died suddenly from heart failure. This loss was a devastating blow to William Sr. He was heartbroken. He had lost not only a son, but also the future he had so carefully planned for his company. The light seemed to go out of his eyes, and he began to withdraw from the world. William Sr.'s grief was compounded by another personal loss just a few years later. His closest friend, Frederick Pabst, the famous Milwaukee brewer, passed away in early 1904. The death of his friend seemed to push William over the edge. He became increasingly reclusive and depressed, rarely leaving the confines of his grand mansion. The house that was once a symbol of his success now became his prison. He spent his days in his bedroom, lost in his sorrow. The family grew deeply concerned, but they were powerless to lift the dark cloud of despair that had settled over their patriarch. The vibrant energy of the mansion began to fade, replaced by a heavy silence. The breaking point came on the morning of February 13, 1904. Just weeks after his friend's death, William J. Lemp Sr. went into his bedroom, closed the door, and took his own life with a gunshot to the head. He was 67 years old. He left behind a suicide note that simply said that the deaths of his son and his friend were too much for him to bear. The news shocked St. Louis. The great beer baron, the man who seemed to have everything, had been defeated by his own inner demons. His suicide marked a dark turning point for the Lemp family. The shadow of tragedy had fallen upon their house, and it would not leave for a very long time. After his father's death, William Billy Lemp Jr. took over as president of the brewery. Billy was very different from his father and grandfather. He was known more for his lavish spending and playboy lifestyle than his business skills. He spent a fortune renovating the mansion, adding a swimming pool and a movie theater. He threw extravagant parties that were the talk of the town. But while he tried to create an atmosphere of fun and excess, the family was still reeling from the recent tragedies. The mansion may have been filled with people and music, but the specter of death now haunted its halls, a constant reminder of the sorrow that lay just beneath the surface. The string of tragedies for the Lemp family did not end with William Sr.'s death. In fact, it seemed to be just the beginning of a grim pattern. The next to fall was Elsa Lemp, William Sr.'s youngest and most beloved daughter. In 1911, Elsa married a wealthy man named Thomas Wright and moved into a beautiful home just a few blocks from the mansion. By all accounts, it was a troubled marriage. On March 20th, 1920, just 9 years after her wedding, Elsa shot herself in her bedroom. She was only 36 years old. The family was once again plunged into mourning. The public began to wonder if the Lemp family was cursed. The biggest blow to the family's fortune came with Prohibition in 1920. The nationwide ban on the production and sale of alcohol was a disaster for the Lemp brewery. Billy Lemp Jr. tried to adapt by making a non-alcoholic cereal beverage called Serva, but it was a commercial failure. The massive brewery, once the pride of St. Louis, fell silent. Unable to weather the financial storm, Billy Lemp Jr. made a heartbreaking decision. In 1922, he sold the entire brewery complex, including the famous Falstaff brand, for a fraction of its former value. The Lemp brewing dynasty, which had taken generations to build, was officially over. The loss of the brewery was a crushing defeat for Billy. He had lost his family's legacy. He retreated into the mansion, the same house where his father had taken his life 18 years earlier. Like his father, he became a recluse, haunted by his failures. On December 29, 1922, just months after selling the brewery, Billy Lemp Jr. followed in his father's footsteps. He went into his office on the first floor of the mansion, a room that had once been the center of his power, and shot himself in the heart. He was 55 years old. The mansion had now claimed its second victim, deepening the dark legend that surrounded the family. The final suicide in the mansion occurred many years later. After Billy's death, his brother Charles Lemp continued to live in the house. Charles was a strange and solitary man. He became obsessed with privacy, sending all the servants away and living in the vast, empty mansion with only his dog. He became increasingly paranoid and eccentric. In 1949, at the age of 77, Charles carefully arranged his final moments. He shot his dog in the basement, then went upstairs to his own bedroom and shot himself. He left a simple, chilling note. "In case of my death, cremate my body in a metal box. Do not open the box. Blame no one for my death. He was the last Lemp to live and die in the family home." With such a history of profound sorrow and violent death, it is no surprise that the Lemp mansion is considered to be intensely haunted. For decades, visitors, employees, and paranormal investigators have reported a wide range of supernatural experiences within its walls. The spirits of the Lemp family are said to linger, forever tied to the location of their greatest triumphs and deepest despairs. The mansion is not just a building. It is a place where the veil between the past and the present seems incredibly thin. The emotional energy left behind by the family's tragedies seems to have permanently stained the atmosphere of the house. One of the most frequently reported spirits is that of William Billy Lemp Jr. People have claimed to see his apparition in the office where he took his own life. They report hearing disembodied footsteps on the main staircase, which he often used. Doors in this area are known to lock and unlock by themselves, and lights flicker on and off without explanation. Many believe Billy's restless spirit is still trying to come to terms with the loss of his family's empire. His presence is often felt as a sad, heavy energy, a ghostly reminder of his personal and professional failures that led to his tragic end. Another prominent ghost is said to be that of Charles Lemp, the last family member to die in the house. His spirit is most often encountered in his former bedroom on the third floor. Staff and guests have reported hearing strange noises, feeling watched, and experiencing sudden drops in temperature in this room. Some have even claimed to see the ghostly figure of a man staring out the window. Charles was a very private person in life, and it is said that his spirit is still guarding his personal space, annoyed by the constant stream of visitors who now walk through his home. His presence is often described as grumpy or unwelcoming. Besides the Lemp family members, there is another well-known ghost known as the boy with the funny face. This is believed to be the spirit of William Lemp Sr., SS' illegitimate son, a child named Zeke, who was born with Down syndrome. According to legend, the family was ashamed of the boy and kept him hidden away in the mansion's attic for his entire life. Visitors and staff have reported seeing the apparition of a young boy, hearing the sounds of a child playing, and finding toys that have been moved or rearranged. His spirit is said to be playful and curious, not malicious, a sad little ghost forever trapped in the house that was his only world. After Charles Lemp's death in 1949, the mansion was sold and turned into a boarding house. For several decades, it fell into a state of disrepair. The grand rooms were divided into small apartments, and the once beautiful home lost much of its former glory. It was a sad chapter for the historic building. However, in 1975, the mansion was purchased by the Pointer family. They saw the potential to restore the house to its original splendor and share its incredible story with the public. They began a long and difficult process of renovation, carefully bringing the mansion back to life while preserving its unique history. Today, the Lemp Mansion operates as a popular restaurant and inn. People can dine in the same rooms where the Lemp family once hosted lavish parties. The menu features fine dining, and the atmosphere is a mix of historic elegance and eerie ambiance. For those who are brave enough, the mansion also offers overnight stays. Guests can sleep in rooms that have been restored to their Victorian-era appearance. Staying the night at the Lemp Mansion is a popular activity for ghost hunters and history buffs, offering a chance to be fully immersed in the house's haunted environment and perhaps experience something supernatural for themselves. The mansion has fully embraced its haunted reputation. It offers a variety of tours and events centered around its paranormal legends. There are regular ghost tours where guides share the chilling tales of the Lemp family's tragedies and the ghostly sightings that have occurred over the years. They also host special events like Halloween parties and paranormal investigation nights, where guests can use ghost hunting equipment to try and make contact with the spirits. These events are incredibly popular, drawing crowds from all over the country. The mansion has successfully turned its dark past into a thriving business. Visiting the Lemp Mansion is a unique experience. It is a journey back in time. As you walk through the ornate rooms, it is easy to imagine the house as it once was, filled with the sounds of a wealthy family enjoying their success. But there is also an undeniable feeling of sadness that permeates the building. It is a place where you can learn about the history of brewing in St. Louis, admire beautiful Victorian architecture, and contemplate the dark side of the American dream. The mansion serves as a living museum, preserving not just the physical structure, but the powerful human story that is forever attached to it. The story of the Lemp Mansion continues to fascinate people for many reasons. On one level, it is a classic tale of rise and fall. It shows how a family can climb to the very pinnacle of success, achieving incredible wealth and power, only to lose it all in a dramatic and tragic fashion. The Lemps embody the American dream, but they also represent its dark underside. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that money cannot buy happiness or protect a family from deep-seated sorrow and mental health struggles. This timeless theme of human vulnerability resonates with people from all walks of life. The mansion's legacy is also deeply connected to our cultural fascination with the supernatural. Ghost stories provide a way for us to confront our fears about death and the unknown in a safe and entertaining context. The Lemp Mansion, with its well-documented history of tragedy, provides the perfect setting for these stories. The alleged hauntings are not just random spooky tales. They are directly linked to the real-life pain and suffering of the people who lived there. This connection between history and haunting gives the legends a powerful sense of authenticity, making the mansion a premier destination for those who seek to explore the paranormal. Furthermore, the Lemp story prompts us to reflect on the importance of mental health, a topic that was not understood or discussed in the family's time. The repeated suicides within the family point to a possible genetic predisposition to depression, compounded by immense personal and professional pressures. In the early 20th century, there was a great deal of stigma surrounding mental illness, and people often suffered in silence. The Lemp family's tragic fate highlights the devastating consequences of untreated despair. Their story encourages a more compassionate understanding of mental health challenges, both in the past and in our world today. In the end, the Lemp mansion is more than just a haunted house. It is a monument to a family's complex legacy. It stands as a testament to their incredible ambition, their monumental success, and their heartbreaking downfall. The spirits that are said to walk its halls are echoes of a story that is deeply human, a story of love, loss, pride, and pain. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the mansion's powerful atmosphere and unforgettable history leave a lasting impression. It is a place where the past feels undeniably present, ensuring that the story of the Lemp family will never be forgotten.